the chopped up and sorted pile is getting smaller. So when I make these things, break the pallets up, take the nails out obviously. I've got a pallet breaker. I'll do a video about the pallet breaker one day. It's actually over there, not easily accessible. Sorry, Delilah. So you break the pallets up, give the wood a chance to dry out properly and nicely. Some of it will warp a little bit. Then I run it through the planer. It's only a cheap from Machine Mart planer thicknesser. Round the edges off on the sander. This is the plain side. The other side hasn't been planed because that's all I want it looking rustic and stuff. Then I shall glue and screw. Be a bit of gluing and screwing battens to the back. Reason for this is none of these are ever going to be flat, so they wouldn't be flat against the wall, and you want them stood away from the wall a little bit as well, just in case you're going to get any damp or anything. So on the top rail, I'll put on these, I'll put some of the hanging brackets, and that's the back done then, pretty much. Well, apart from I put the rubber stamp on, turn it over and work on the other side. Mentioning the rubber stamp, for those who don't know, every piece that I make is completely unique, and it's all got a serial number. And it's not because I'm being some poncy pretentious artist or anything like that. It's because behind everything that I've made, including all the original Lichtenbergs, there's always a story behind things, and I think that's almost as interesting as the piece that I'm making, because I'm not an artist. Neither, as anyone who knows me will attest, neither am I a craftsman. I'm a scientist, and as a consequence, I have to be honest and say that the interesting bit about the stuff I do is more the story than the product. So after this is now dried and screwed and glued, I'll show you where we go next. That's that. Glued and screwed, and oh, I wish I hadn't said it like that. This is where they actually start to become something that I can work with. And I'll just show you, that doesn't really sit level that way, which is why with the battens on the back, they're both fairly solid. So next, this is where the magic starts. Now, people don't realise there's actually quite a lot of time goes into making these pieces, and a part of that time is just getting it initially to be safe and non sort of splintery and whatever, but then the initial cosmetics. This then is where I will now start to, I don't know why that LED up there is on colour changing mode. Sorry, Delilah, darling. Probably because I was chilling a little bit last night in the workshop, innit? So this is now getting the aesthetics, how we want the aesthetics to look. And yeah, these pieces do take a fair amount of time, which is never really represented in the what we charge for them, what I charge for them. Anyway, next bit. And because it isn't until this process is finished that you can work out where the beauty in the piece is going to lay. As an example, these are original saw lines that have come out. They're going to look really nice when it's varnished. And also, this is where I kind of work out, because I'm going to have to write on these and then have the glasses and the cups and that hanging. So I've just given away what I'm making, but you know what I'm making anyway. The aesthetics are quite important. So the aging part is now done, and this is where I usually say the piece comes to life. And this is where it gets, and this is only a rubber stamp. People say you should use a branding iron. Why? Rubber stamp works. Someone wants to make me a branding iron, fine. And then finally, just to add to the overall pretension, everyone gets a unique serial number, dated, and a unique serial number, which is basically the date backwards and the number of the piece that I've made that day. So that's 01, that's 02. But again, it's more about the story than the product. Next, start to varnish. The lighting doesn't really show, but the difference in the stressing on these. This is a bit heavy, so I might have to sand this down a little bit after the first coat of varnish is dry. But that will take 16 plus hours because I use the spirit-based polyurethane varnish. People say, why don't you use a water-based varnish that dries in an hour or so? Because I don't feel I get the same quality result. One of the things I really do like when working with wood is you get a piece like this and it's torn and it's broken and whatever, but it's also kind of beautiful. And when varnished up, has a real beautiful character of its own. So that will be one of the glass holders. And then look at the character in that. But moreover, look at that. And I just know, alright, it's a piece of broken wood, which someone's cut slots in and varnished. But I think that is character. Yeah, lost in the moment there. That's a part of the joy of working with this sort of wood. It's old, it's stressed, it's been battered and beaten and broken, and it all kind of adds to the character of the piece, which I suppose is a bit poncy and pretentious, but true. Yeah. After they'd dried off, gave it 24 hours because that polyurethane varnish does need to harden off well, even though most of it's sunk in. It's only the first coat. Now, I quite liked the overall finish on this one, but this, I think I overcooked it a little bit when I was doing the sort of fake aging process, so I've just sanded it down and I think it looks a lot better, especially with these saw cut lines. I do like these, and when this is now varnished again, I've left this aged bit down here along with the knot, should bring out a fair bit of character for it. We shall see when the varnish is on. It's always difficult filming after just varnishing because it is so wet and shiny, but it is gloss varnish. I think the effect on there now is actually lovely. It's still got that old, beaten up, saw marked, looks like it's lived, which of course it has. So I'm happy with both of these. They're both different and both, I don't know if I can get a better, no I can't, there's nowhere to go to get better film. These are almost now ready to have some lettering put on, and then I might use one of these again. Yeah, all the old just feel of the almost decay, and stuff like this has never ever really not going to have a use. It's always going to have character. Yeah, those, like that bit down there, that will be something that expresses itself. I know that's sort of pretentious arty sort of term that artistes would use, and I'm not an artiste. Am I, Delilah? No. See, she says no, you're not. Well, you are sort of artiste. I'm happy. I'm happy with the way this is coming together.